As the sun shone in California's blue sky, it was an ordinary Monday morning at WestCoast Wheels, a car dealership just outside Los Angeles in Pasadena. The sky was clear, the coffee was fresh, and the manager, Brad, was, as usual, on edge. Brad, a man in his 50s with short hair, always dressed in a meticulously pressed brown suit, followed the same routine every morning. He was known for his obsession with rules and discipline. That morning, after inspecting the showroom's windows, Brad was yelling at the cleaners to dust the cars, scolding the office staff about the filing system, and emphasizing his mantra, "The customer is king," at every opportunity. For Brad, everything had to be under control. Order was his god. But that morning, someone who stepped into the showroom was about to shatter that order entirely. It was 10:03 a.m. when the massive glass doors of the showroom opened with an automatic hiss. A tall, lanky man walked in. He wore a casual yet unmistakably expensive gray tracksuit. A large hoodie covered his head, dark sunglasses shielded his eyes, and his feet sported a pristine pair of white sneakers. A gold chain dangled from his back pocket, and his fingers gleamed with rings that caught the light. The moment he entered, the energy in the room shifted. Some customers turned to look at him, and employees subtly raised their heads. His walk had a confident slowness, as if time moved differently for him. His demeanor suggested he wasn't an ordinary buyer. Danielle, one of the sales associates, immediately approached him. With a warm smile and a friendly tone, she asked, "Hello, sir, welcome. Can I assist you?" The man gave a slight nod. He glanced at Danielle through his sunglasses, offered a brief smile, but said nothing. His attention turned to the cars in the showroom. He first eyed a matte black Dodge Charger, then glanced at an electric BMW model in the corner. Danielle was a bit surprised. There was something familiar about him, but she couldn't quite place it. At that moment, the glass door of the office at the far end of the showroom swung open. Brad, as usual, emerged with his coffee in hand, his face etched with the impatience and suspicion that years had carved into him. His thick brows furrowed the moment he saw the man. He'd seen people dressed like this before. Either they came just to look or to take selfies and leave. Brad didn't like these types. He called them attention-seeking wannabes. Striding quickly out of his office, he headed straight for the man, nearly shoving Danielle aside as he passed her. "Don't bother, Danielle," he said with a mocking tone. "I'll handle this." The hooded man was leaning over the hood of a classic Mustang, carefully inspecting its chrome details. Brad's voice echoed from behind. "Hey, buddy, has anyone come to help you yet? Unless you're just here to fog up the windows, of course." The man slowly straightened up and turned around. He looked at Brad through his sunglasses, but didn't speak. A faint smile lingered at the corner of his lips. Brad crossed his arms, tilting his chin up slightly as he continued. "Look, pal, this is WestCoast Wheels. Nice outfit, but this isn't a clothing store. Are you actually here to buy a car, or are you just wasting time?" The man tilted his head slightly. "Is this place yours?" he asked in a low voice. Brad raised his eyebrows. "I'm a manager. This place is my responsibility." "Why do you ask?" The hooded man glanced around the showroom again. "I wanted to observe what goes on here. How people are treated, what's being sold, the vibe of the place. That stuff matters." Brad let out a grunt. "Listen, if you want to observe, open YouTube. This is for serious customers, not for wasting time." A few employees watched from a distance, and Danielle observed the scene with growing unease. The man's features were starting to seem more familiar. "If you don't leave now," Brad said, raising his voice, "I'll have to call security. You can't just wander around here like some punk, making customers uncomfortable. And don't try to mess with me. I've dealt with plenty of guys like you." The man kept his head lowered, silent for a few seconds. Then, slowly, he removed his sunglasses. Behind his eyes was a weariness from years of experience, a wisdom that still knew how to smile. He shifted slightly, glanced at Danielle, then turned back to Brad. "Plenty of people like you have come and gone too," he said. "My lawyers finalized the acquisition on Friday. This place is mine now." Brad's face turned pale. His coffee nearly slipped from his hand. What did you say?" he stammered, his voice cracking. "This showroom," the man said, slipping his sunglasses into his pocket, "belongs to me now. Papers, signatures, seals, they're all done. I came to meet my staff, to feel the vibe of the place. But my manager's threatening to call security on me. Interesting, isn't it? He still hadn't said his name, but by now, everyone knew who he was. Brad took a step back, his eyes wide with fear. The showroom fell silent. Even the music seemed to stop, as if the universe itself had paused in reverence. The man smiled. If you want to be a good manager, you've got to start by treating people like people. Judging someone before you know who they are only makes you look small. At that moment, two men in dark navy suits entered the showroom, carrying documents and heading straight for Brad. Brad Kingsley, one of them said, holding out a folder. As per the new management policy, your contract is under review. The dealership is now officially owned by Mr. Calvin Broadus. Brad's eyes fell to the name on the document, Calvin Broadus. For a moment, he looked like he'd been struck. That name, it was Snoop Dogg's real name. The showroom sank into a deeper silence. Everyone froze, some holding brochures, others mid-conversation with customers. Eyes darted between Brad and Calvin Broadus, or as everyone knew him, Snoop Dogg. Snoop pointed to the signature on the document, then pulled another file from his jacket's inner pocket and handed it gently to Danielle. Can you take this inside and put it with the other documents in the safe? He said, his voice calm but firm. Danielle, almost startled, nodded, but the faint smile on her face eased her nerves. Of course, Mr. Broadus. Snoop chuckled and shook his head. Just call me Snoop. Mr. Broadus isn't really my thing. As Danielle took the file and walked away, Brad stood there, motionless. His face was flushed, and his hands were clasped in front of him, avoiding eye contact. Snoop walked to the center of the showroom and turned to address everyone. I know showing up like this was a bit unconventional, but I always want to feel things first. Numbers, papers, contracts, they're part of the deal, sure. But I want to see the soul of a place. Who's living what? Who's acting how? Who loves their job? And who's just passing time? A couple of employees nodded, their eyes showing respect and a hint of admiration. This is our place now, Snoop continued. A space we'll transform together, a place we'll work in with pride. But first, some things need to change. His eyes turned to Brad. Brad still hadn't spoken, as if his body belonged to someone else, his voice lost. The tough, abrasive manager was gone, replaced by a man who looked like a child with tears in his eyes. Snoop stepped closer, stopping a few feet away. Brad, you've been here a long time, haven't you? Brad answered in a faint voice. 8 years. 8 years, Snoop repeated. It shows. You've built order. You've been disciplined. But people aren't managed with discipline. They're managed with respect. You saw how you treated me earlier. It's not hard to guess how you treat the young sales rep or the cleaning staff. Brad lowered his head. His lips trembled. Snoop softened. I'm not going to fire you. But in this new era, you either learn or you leave. You need to be a leader who guides, not judges. Are you ready? For the first time, Brad looked up at him. In Snoop's eyes, there was no anger, just a challenging yet compassionate gaze. For a moment, a memory from Brad's childhood flashed in his mind. A pair of eyes looking at him in a way his father never had. He swallowed hard. I'm ready, he said. It wasn't surrender. It felt like a beginning. Snoop nodded. Good. Then come on, let's check out that Mustang together. You need to learn how to sell with feeling. As Brad followed Snoop, something inside him seemed to unravel. For the first time in 8 years, he was truly starting to learn. A week had passed. The showroom's atmosphere had changed. The sound system was upgraded, and a dim but charismatic lighting setup had been installed. On weekends, young musicians performed acoustic sets in the showroom, and car presentations were live-streamed on Instagram. Selling cars had turned into an experience. Danielle was no longer just a sales associate. She was now the social media coordinator. Brad had swapped his formal attire for something simpler and started having coffee with the staff in the mornings. Just the other day, he bought a toy car for a customer's young son, entirely on his own initiative. The most striking change was in the customers. Where once only elite clients visited, now people from all walks of life walked in confidently, asking questions and touching the cars. A sign at the entrance bore Snoop's personal note. No one is excluded here. Every engine has a soul, and every person has a dream. Snoop stopped by once a week, spending time with the staff and even freestyling with the younger employees. His unpretentious yet powerful presence gave the showroom an energy no advertisement could match. One day, Danielle was reviewing old security footage in the corner of the showroom. One clip showed that first day, Snoop walking in with his hoodie, Brad berating him, and Snoop's calm silence. Brad, standing nearby, looked at the monitor. His voice was low, tinged with shame. "It's hard to watch," he said. Danielle smiled. "You've changed. Everyone can see it." Brad nodded. "I'm learning to understand people, not just cars." At that moment, the showroom's glass doors opened again. A young boy walked in, worn clothes, dusty shoes, but with hope in his eyes. He approached the cars slowly, then hesitated and stepped back. Brad took off his glasses and smiled. "Young man," he said, walking toward him. "Come on, let's check out the car you're dreaming of." The boy stood by the car, his eyes tracing the metallic navy blue paint, but hesitating to touch it. Brad approached slowly, the old harshness gone, replaced by a softness shaped by his experiences. "Do you know who sat in the driver's seat of his car first?" Brad asked. The boy shook his head. Brad opened the door and continued, peering inside. "Someone like you." He had dreams, but no one believed in him. Whenever he wanted something, people looked at his clothes, not his eyes. Whenever he spoke, they didn't hear his voice. But one day, someone came along and just listened. The boy listened intently. Brad took off his glasses and smiled. "That's why I see you. Because I know what it's like to not be seen." He tapped the edge of the door lightly. "Get in. See your dream from the inside." The boy hesitated but climbed in. As his fingers touched the steering wheel, he felt, for the first time, like he was in control of something in his life. Danielle watched from a distance and approached Brad. "That was a good speech," she said. Brad shrugged. "I used to only know cars. Now I'm learning people." Just then, the showroom's glass doors slid open slowly. A familiar silhouette stepped in with a quiet breeze. It was Snoop. This time, he was alone, wearing a simple black t-shirt, plain pants, and his sunglasses perched on his head. Danielle approached first. "Welcome back." Snoop nodded in greeting, his eyes searching for Brad. When Brad met his gaze, he walked over. "You left us," he said. Snoop gave a faint smile. Sometimes a seedling needs to step out of the shade to grow. They shook hands. This time, there was no power play, just respect, understanding, and a deep connection. The showroom fell quiet. Everyone watched them. Snoop scanned the room, looking at the employees, the customers, the young boy. What reflected in his eyes wasn't just a place, it was a soul. "Something's changed here," he said in a low voice. "Not just the sign out front. Hearts have changed. Perspectives have changed." Brad nodded. "It started with you, but now we're carrying it forward." Snoop walked to the showroom's glass window and touched it lightly with his fingertips. Then he turned toward the door. Being on the road is great, but seeing someone find their path is even better. And with that, he left. He didn't look back. He didn't need to, because he knew this place was now the quiet revolution he'd planted. What about you? Have you ever judged someone by their appearance? Or have you ever had a moment when no one knew you, but a storm was raging inside you? Our story ends here, but maybe yours is just beginning. If this story stirred something in you, don't forget to like, share your thoughts in the comments, and subscribe for more stories. Until we meet again on the next journey. See you soon.